Today, we are diving deep into one of nature's most powerful and, frankly, terrifying forces, the tsunami. We're going to unpack the incredible science of how they're born, trace their devastating echoes through human history, and ask a pretty tough question. Are we really ready for their fury? You know, it often begins with this strange, unnerving calm, a weird feeling in the air.
Those words, they describe the moments right before the wave hit Japan on March 11, 2011. It's just a chilling premonition, isn't it? A sign of an event that would completely change how we think about the raw power of nature.
And this is the cost. Almost 20,000 people lost their lives in that one tsunami. A number like that just immediately puts into perspective the immense human tragedy and the sheer scale of the force we're talking about today. To really get a handle on what a tsunami is, you have to start with what it does. So let's go back to that day in Sendai, Japan. A massive magnitude 9.0 earthquake is just ripped through the Earth's crust right off the coast.
This thing that came ashore, it wasn't just water. Imagine a black wall, 15 meters high, churning with cars, parts of houses, mud, sand, everything. It slammed into 500 kilometers of coastline, just wiping everything away. It's an unimaginable force. So how in the world does nature cook up something that destructive? Let's get into the science of it, the very engine that drives this destruction.
Okay, first things first. The word tsunami is Japanese. It means harbor wave. And the most important thing to get straight right away is that it has absolutely nothing to do with tides. This is a totally different beast, born from a sudden, incredibly violent shift of the ocean itself. Which, of course, leads to the big question. What kind of event can possibly move an entire ocean like that? Well, the answer lies deep, deep beneath the seafloor, in the slow, relentless dance of our planet's tectonic plates.
So how does this actually work? It sounds super complex, but the analogy here is just perfect. Imagine two big mattresses. One is sliding under the other. That's called subduction. For hundreds of years, the top one gets pushed down and bent, storing up energy like a stick you're bending over your knee. Then, all at once, it snaps back. That's the earthquake. And it violently shoves the entire column of water from the seafloor to the surface straight up. That's the birth of the tsunami.
And this is where things get really wild. A tsunami basically has two completely different personalities. Out in the deep ocean, it's a ghost. It can be less than a meter high, totally unnoticeable to a ship passing over it. But it's moving at the speed of a jet plane, up to 1,000 kilometers an hour. As it gets closer to the shore, the seafloor gets shallower, and it's forced to slow down. All that incredible energy has to go somewhere, right? Well, it goes up. And that's when it transforms into that destructive wall of water.
But you know, tsunamis are nothing new. They've been carving their mark on our planet and on our civilizations for thousands and thousands of years. So let's take a look back at the echoes they've left behind and the warnings they've tried to give us.
As far back as 430 BC, the Greek historian Thucydides actually figured it out. He was the first to connect earthquakes with these massive waves. We think a tsunami 3,500 years ago might have totally changed the course of ancient Greek history. And then there's the Lisbon tsunami in 1755. It was so devastating, it shattered the optimistic philosophies of the time, forcing thinkers to completely reevaluate how they saw the world.
Okay, but that makes you wonder, right? If nobody was there to write it down, how on earth do we know about these giant waves that happened thousands of years ago? Well, the answer isn't in old books. It's literally in the ground beneath our feet.
Scientists hunt for these things called tsunamis. You can think of them as geological footprints. See, when a huge tsunami crashes onto land, it leaves behind a really unique layer of sand and clay and sediment. By digging down, geologists can read these layers like pages in a history book, counting the ancient tsunamis. And this is where the story takes a seriously chilling turn. Back in 2001, a full decade before the disaster, a study of these tsunamis near Sendai concluded that a monster tsunami hits that exact spot about every 900 years. The warning was there, literally written in the rock. The footprints told their story. But tragically, that warning wasn't fully understood in time. So that brings us to today. We have all this amazing technology, right? We have early warning systems. But as we're about to see, we might be living under a dangerous illusion of control. Right now, there are about 60 of these high-tech tsunami detection buoys scattered across the world's oceans. But get this, before the huge 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, there were only 6 in the entire Pacific, and none, 0, in the Indian Ocean. So we've learned a lot, but the system is far from foolproof.
Because even the very best technology has its limits. And in 2011, Japan, arguably the most prepared nation on the planet for this stuff, became the ultimate tragic proof of that very fact.
So what went so wrong? It all came down to one critical miscalculation. The first alerts went out for a magnitude 7.4 earthquake. Based on that, people expected a wave around 3 meters high, something they believed their seawalls could handle. But the earthquake wasn't a 7.4. It was a 9.0, which is exponentially more powerful. The wave that actually hit was nearly 16 meters tall. That initial error meant that thousands of people who thought they were safe were actually right in the path of a monster.
And this quote really gets to the heart of the problem we face today. We have deliberately settled the coastal areas of the whole world, creating a situation without an exit for billions of people. By building our greatest cities and communities right on the edge of the ocean, we've put ourselves directly in harm's way.
So, we've learned from geology, we've learned from history, and we have learned from terrible, terrible tragedy. We have more knowledge and we have better technology than at any point in human history. But all of that leaves us with one final, sobering question to think about. Are we truly ready for the next wave?